So, you have the certification, the ACT, and then prior to that, you're taking NCIDQ in order to, fulfill the requirements of, whatever hopeful legislation that we have. Taking that, further step back, it all starts with education and some of what we were talking about earlier in regards to schools in Pennsylvania and Maryland and that sort of shift in the workforce geographically. So I'm just curious, in regards to starting advocacy with our students. How can our students and educators, push things like NCIDQ and legislation to, I know we have a couple students here tonight, which is awesome, but I also know a bunch of students don't want to come and sit through a roundtable discussion about Harrisburg and senators and all that kind of stuff.
Professionals too, students and professionals.
And professionals, yeah. But I think, really getting them excited as they're starting to get excited about the profession before they get burnt out in school anyway. But, what any of us, we all went to school for something. How do you think we can be, create good advocates in our education systems?
I can take that one. And this is inspired by my drive here today with an intern in our office. She's a student at Virginia Tech. We're having interesting conversations, and I was introducing her to the topic that we're discussing today. And she's experienced that same embarrassment that Nicole's talked about, where students in other disciplines think that, oh, you have plenty of time, your curriculum is easy, your classes are easy. And I think anyone who has seen an interior design student, as well as an architecture student, like a sleepless, coffee-driven, tired, miserable person, knows that that's not true. So there's just this perception. So I think they should be aware that there's ways to combat that misperception, and that being involved as an advocate is very important so that we kind of work towards reshaping the perceptions of what we do and what our education is, because our education is costing as much as the education of the architects who are coming out of the same school. I think it comes mostly from educators who really drive the goal to have the NCIDQ. I think there are some educators who don't have it and who don't see it as a priority. Maybe they come from different backgrounds where it's just not something they want to achieve. And I think that's kind of phasing out as more and more CIDQ is getting more stringent in application. Associate's degrees with certain credits are no longer accepted. They're closing that out so that it's raising the bar for what the education level is. So there are actually a lot of schools that are closing that aren't CIDA accredited. So it's unfortunate for those educators, but they're having to go back, get higher education, get master's degrees. We're just raising that bar, and I think it's a gradual process, but I think it's all important for.
And that goes within the accreditation process. I mean, it goes back a few years. I think most of the ARE exams are from a master's level now, and the Bachelor of Architecture is sort of phased out. But we looked at Bachelor of Science programs and then Bachelor of Architecture programs, and their accreditation was valued, and it does go to your instructors types of programs.
Sure.
So as that bar gets raised, I would think the self-respect within the industry would rise, because I came out of this program, and this is what I have to offer.
I am actually a senior at Philadelphia University currently, and I think that change starts really, really early in schooling.
Yes.
So freshman year, at least at Philly you're combined with architects, so you work alongside with them, so there's no difference almost. And when you speak to people who are studying architecture, they're all like, oh yeah, we're fine with interior design, blah, blah, blah. 2 years later, it's a completely different story.
Yep.
It's you guys do less work than us, and then the shame starts to instill. And I think if you get into schools right when they're at their second to third year, you'll get interior designers who are willing to talk to legislators. That's like the prime time where people start to realize that interior designers are considered second rank to architecture students.
At the student level, I think it's really important to have collaboration from AIAS and IIDA's and ASCD's campus center groups. We should be planning events so that we're not creating enemies. It's almost like political climate where it's just everyone's against each other, and it shouldn't be. We work side by side. Sometimes we do each other's jobs. It just happens. It's so closely related. Creating enemies and hostility, I don't know if it's coming from educators or if it's just this, I don't want to say the word patriarchy. I apologize for that, but I don't know where it's coming from. But I think building bridges, extending hands, and putting your cards out there and not being like us against them is the only way to move forward.
It is a collaborative effort, because if we don't do it collaboratively, then you're not architects aren't serving the client, interior designs aren't serving the client, and then the others just don't fall in line. So I think it's an element, the architect or whatever, that's sort of the condescending thing that's fostered, and I think that may be an element that wants to be toned down or chill out or something.
And you actually,
So-
the collaboration thing's alright.
You're okay.
The collaboration thing is important because at our school, we only get one collaboration project with the architecture
Yep.
majors in the entire 4 years that we're there. So they, and the collaboration project we had this year was interior design led. And then the architecture students came to the table and they didn't know how to do the space planning because they weren't taught beforehand how to
Right.
do that. So I think the collaboration effort needs to be more integrated into the projects because that's what it is once we're in the field.
But the strength in that then is that collectively we have a stronger project. And collectively, if we have a stronger project, we're going to get better work. And I'm still optimistic enough that you know, I still believe in that if you build it, they come kind of thing, and that's an architecture perspective. But it's if you have a successful design and then the team shares that, you collectively should have the opportunity to raise the awareness.